Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. Let's talk some more football here. Brian Kelly met with the media after the spring game. I talked about Garrett Nussmeier at the top of the show today, but I did want to get kind of Brian Kelly's thoughts on what he thought of Garrett, not only really in the spring game, but in the entirety of the spring as he's kind of taken over as the leader of the offense.
I thought it was good. I thought there was a run read where he tried to spit the ball out early with Major Burns. Major kind of plays with him a little bit on the line of scrimmage off, playing a little of cat and mouse. And, I told him, listen, if he's on the line of scrimmage, he can't get into his B-gap fit. Just hand the ball off. He can't get there. And proximity sometimes forces him to do some things that he shouldn't do. So other than that, I thought he did a really nice job. The throw as he stepped up in the pocket was, quintessential in terms of what he's able to do. He keeps his eyes down the field. That's a huge thing, right? As he steps up in the pocket, he sees, an open receiver down the field. I thought he was clean today. I thought he was efficient. I thought he did the things that we expected him to do.
That play that he's talking about when he stepped up and made the throw to Kyron Lacy was a coverage bust. It was a bust early. Kyron Lacy was running wide open. I was sitting in the press box, and I saw him run, and I literally said out loud, a bust. And Nuss didn't see it immediately, but then he stepped up and saw it there. And there were a few coverage busts by the LSU defense in the game, and Brian Kelly addressed those busts in the press conference after things had settled down.
Well, one of them was cover two, and we're in cover three, and we're playing cover two. So the corner's rolled up. He's supposed to be a deep defender. You can't have those kind of mistakes. They're unacceptable, and that's going to cost you a chance to be on the field. So that's one thing. And then we just got flat-out outrun for the football. We were in a coverage that we're supposed to be over the top. We just got flat-out beat in those situations. So sometimes you just got to take a hard look at who do we have and what kind of situations do we put them in against, an elite receiver.
Question is, okay, is it too early to tell if the defense is going to be good? I would suggest that it probably is a little bit early. You don't have the entirety of what your defense will be, and we'll see a little bit more of that kind of in the fall when they put that group together. But Brian Kelly was asked, can you tell if the defense is going to be good?
I know the basic tenets of defense relative to the believability, the energy, the want-to, all those things are going to be there, which are important as a foundation. They'll be there. Then we got to execute. And so we need to get some help at the defensive tackle position, which we will. We're addressing it. And we got to, obviously figure out, what our corner situation is going to be. I think we answer those two. I think this defense will be a solid defense.
We do know that Harold Perkins is going to be pretty good because he's been here for 2 years and he's been pretty good. But the role may be changing a little bit here. So Brian Kelly was asked about his junior linebacker.
I thought Harold Perkins did a really nice job working in the box and, seeing counter. And so, we were purposeful in running the ball at him and making him defend and get over the top of the veer block of the tackle and then getting it back out and forcing him to tackle that. So, that was really good to see.
I saw Harold Perkins make some plays, if we're being honest. I thought he did a pretty good job. The Weeks brothers probably had more plays. They were out there a lot, but I thought that Harold Perkins flashed a little bit. I'm curious about where the pass rush comes from this team. And I think Deshaun Womack is the most hopeful of that group. I think, obviously Savion Jones is still here, and you've got some older players, but Womack didn't play a ton last year, and I think needs to be involved heavily this year. And so Brian Kelly was asked about his defensive end.
I like what he's doing. He's made a lot of progress, and he's ready to play. He's building a bank of trust. He didn't have a lot in there, but he's building it, and I like where he's going. We like his energy. We like his the way he cares about what he's doing, and I think he's going to make an impact in our defense.
This is going to be my chorus, I think, as I look at this LSU team and specifically the defense. My chorus probably all summer and into the fall is going to be I don't expect them to be a top 5 defense in the country. I don't really expect them to be a top 5 defense in the SEC, if I'm being completely honest. What I'm asking is for them to make some big plays. Get a turnover here or there. Get a big sack. Get a big TFL. Strip sack. Make some negative plays to either put the offense behind the chains or to change the field position they're going to get some yards on LSU defense, but make some big plays. And so Womack is one of the guys. But I think Gabe Reliford maybe showed in the game that he might be a guy that can do that as well. We saw him come off the edge and get a sack. And those early enrollees sometimes are a little bit more prepared in the fall than the rest of their classmates. So what's the next step for Gabe Reliford?
Gabe was going up against a freshman, right? And he's a freshman. I get that. But, now we're going to have to take Gabe, and we're going to have to get Gabe some reps against, Will Campbell. We're going to have to get him up against Emory, because he's earned that now that we've got to be able to see what he looks like against those guys.
All this development has got to come from the new coaches that LSU has got on the defensive side of the football. And we know that it's a star-studded group. We know they've got a lot of skins on the wall, and I think everybody feels pretty good about where things stand from a coaching staff perspective on defense. But the question is, how quick can that impact be? And Kelly talked about the impact that Bo Davis on the defensive front, Corey Raymond on the back end have been through one spring.
The long approach to this is just look at who's on campus, who we're recruiting. And look, we got to win right away. And I get that. And we're going to put together a defense that puts us in a position to win the SEC. But if you want to look at this from a longer view, I've had a lot of players in front of me over the past 3 months since we've hired those two that I hadn't seen in a couple of years. So that's a really good thing because we're gonna get the guys that we need at those positions, and Bo and Corey are making an impact there.
That's just not all that shocking. Corey Raymond and Bo Davis at multiple stops over the course of their careers have recruited at a very, very, very high level. And I have no doubt that they're going to do the same thing here at LSU. I say this all the time. I don't know a better path to winning a championship than recruiting really good high school players. I think that's the best way to do it. Now, Lane Kiffin is going to attempt to do it the other way because I don't know that he can get the highest level in high school players. And so I think the guys that Ole Miss is pulling out of the transfer portal are solid starter level players. I don't think he's getting, and I'll just use some names, I don't think he's getting Jamar Chase, Leonard Fournette, Jamal Adams, Patrick Peterson type impact players who go in the top 35 picks in the draft and are all Americans out of the transfer portal. You can get starters out of the transfer portal. You can get, and to just use some other names, Jarek Bernard Converse or Logan Diggs out of the transfer portal. Those are good players. But the elite of the elite that win championships at LSU, I think more often are going to come out of the transfer portal. Every once in a while, Jahmyr Gibbs is available in the transfer portal from Georgia Tech to Alabama. That does exist. But I think when you're talking about the elite level players in college football, more often than not, to me, that's going to be high school guys. I mean, I can start thinking of some names of guys that have transferred that have been elite level.
I was going to say, I think quarterback is a position where that's different. But other than that, I think you're right.
I mean, Jamison Williams went from Ohio State to Bama and was fantastic. We just saw the opposite with, I can't even remember his name, but the 5-star state, Caleb Downs from Bama goes to Ohio State. And that it does happen. But if you're talking about Lane Kiffin bringing in 15 guys in a transfer portal class, you're not going to have the stars of stars in those transfer classes, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. But if you're talking about having 5-star guys who end up being top 40 picks in the NFL draft that win Thorpe Awards and stuff, I think those, generally speaking, are going to come more often from high school than they are from college. And LSU is obviously doing a really good job of building that high school class. So those are some thoughts from Brian Kelly. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.